How's it, guys? I've got Craig Baleta here, the man I go to for reloading advice, giving us his thoughts on the Corp billet press.
Dwayne, thank you very much for inviting me to have a look at this press. Wow, this is a machine. This is absolutely amazing. I've seen very, very good presses in the past. I've got a couple of really nice presses myself. But from a South African perspective, I think this is the best machine I've ever seen locally manufactured. I've seen other presses built in South Africa, designed here, that are totally different to this setup. But this allows me to see it and say, well, that is a press that I can see, that I understand. You've spoken about the tolerances. It's awesome. This thing is rock solid. There's nothing that moves around in this press. I know a lot of people may look at it when the ram is down. There is movement in this handle and it wobbles around a bit, but it doesn't mean a thing because all the work happens when the ram is up and the handle is down. And when it is here and we move this, all that movement that we had there, that knocking you could hear is removed. As I'm moving it here, it's obviously moving the table. This thing is built like a tank. It really, really is. You say it can run, it's tall enough to run 338 Lapua.
338 Lapua, 120 mil clearance there.
So we played with it a little bit earlier on. We've resized and some 308 brass. Not too sure what rifle it was fired in. And for any of the handgun guys who are used to loading their 9 mils and very, very light pressure, as soon as you go to bigger than 2 to 3 cases, it takes a little bit more effort. It really does. Be sure to lube your cases properly.
Yeah, definitely.
No matter how strong this press is, if you haven't lubed that case properly, you are leaving the doppie inside that down. So I would assume anybody who's buying a machine like this understands lubing cases properly. And even for the guys running their fancy progressives and loading up lube cases, your shoulder will thank you for it,
yeah,
particularly when you're doing hundreds or thousands of cases at a time. What I really liked with this press, after thinking about it for a while, is the die adapter that fits in the top. Dwayne has said it fits the regular 7/8 inch dies, and you can get the large series dies for the 50 BMGs and whatever other calibers come with that. But I'm used to running the regular die in the adapter and then removing the adapter and putting the large series die straight into the head. This one doesn't work that way.
No.
This one, you will get a
a
second adapter that will allow you to fit the large series dies. And I thought about it, and it's a little bit strange, but it does make sense because in no way can you damage these threads by turning dies in and out of them. Also, there may be some guys wanting to set up a die in a die adapter, lock it down, and then remove the entire die adapter, and then just have multiple die adapters and put them in and out of the press.
Yeah, you will get 2 die adapters with the press, and more die adapters will be available for you to buy from Corp.
The shell holder, this fitting. I've personally never seen anything like this before. It may be out there somewhere, I don't know, but I haven't seen this particular system. Your shell holder gets that little ring, as Dwayne has shown, but it drops inside there, and this ring fits around here. And then you lock the whole thing down, finger tight. Nothing more. That's all you need. This particular one happens to be the pass-through shell holder. That's what we had on hand. But once it's in here, there's absolutely no movement. Think about your own press if you run a single stage press. When you put your shell holder in there, you can still move it up and down. There is a little bit of slop in it. A machine like this, no movement. When you set it up, there's no cam over in this machine. When you set up your dies, you don't turn it into it touches, lift, give it a quarter or a half a turn more, and then run it. You don't need to do it on this. That camming over is what is necessary on machines with far looser tolerances. You remove all the slop in the machine by camming over. If you cam over too much, you do damage things, but you do it in the proper way and you get top class ammunition coming out of it. We did, however, note one thing, that when you're turning your die into the machine, or into the holder, while you're screwing it in, there is some movement, and that is normal. I mean, the threads as they're being cut.
So it's a normal die threads,
Yeah.
made to have a bit of play.
A little bit of play. So when you're setting it up, I do think it may be a good idea to take a case, put it in. If it's a sizing die, you're not going to run it in all the way, but run it in until it stops. Then you center the die and the threads on the case, and then you can lock it down. I don't know if you just locked it in, if there would be a problem, but I'm going to assume and just say to you that with a press with tolerances as tight as this, you would want to ensure that everything is perfectly in line, both forward and back, left and right, or which any angle you want. So I would always set it up with a case inside there.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it just centers up everything and sorts that out for you. The roller bearings that are inside here, the Vesconite bearings that are here, the brass bushing that runs on this ram. This is not cheap stuff. Most guys would look at a press and say, well, I take my press and run that handle halfway down, it's just going to fall all the way. Look how tight these tolerances are. It stops right there. Good thing, bad thing, because if you think you've pushed the handle all the way down because it doesn't drop, you've actually short struck.
Yeah.
But a decent reloader will know to always go down and push. Not necessarily on a bench that wobbles like this and squeaks.
And you need a good workbench for this press.
But yeah, the cheapest thing on this press is probably the little bottle that catches the spent primers, but the fact that they drop through the ram again. For years I've been used to running presses with holes or slots cut in the ram where the primers come out and supposedly go into a cup. But you're always going to get those few primers that think they're in the Olympics.
Yeah, they get stuck there.
Yeah, well, they get stuck or they jump right out and you end up with primers all over the floor. When we started dropping primers through the ram into bottles, all the dirt drops inside. It's not on the outside in any way. As Dwayne has said, you can extend this tube into a bucket if you are going to load a lot or size a lot of cases, deep prime them. You would, I don't know how many primers are going to go into this. I wouldn't even want to take a guess. Probably a few hundred, which is more than most guys loading on a press like this would want to do. This is not a press for your average hand loader. When I say it isn't, for a handgun, I think there's a lot of other options that are available.
For me, a handgun, we want more speed, so we tend to go to progressive presses for handguns. Maybe a Bisley shooter, but otherwise, this is for precision reloading.
I've got a number of presses, and through the years I've used quite a few different presses, and I'm going to be honest and say nothing has come close to this. I've got a very good bullet swaging press, which is probably the closest to this machine. It costs a whole lot more, but it's not really a reloading machine. It's a swaging press, and something that may be very nice, but not on this bench. Perhaps we should try swaging bullets on this and give some feedback. I do have dies that would work in a regular press to swage some 2 to 3 bullets out of 2 cases, which takes a bit of effort. Perhaps it would be a good thing for us to try on this. But as a reloading press, this thing it really impresses me. Almost to the point of I didn't want to be impressed by a locally manufactured machine. You think of it's homegrown. Can it compete and compare with really some of the top class presses out there? I do believe that this one can do it. It's just everything on this thing. It's nothing here is just done by chance. This wasn't designed on the back of a cigarette packet.
No.
This thing has been designed properly. This is a machine, I believe, that could go onto the international market very, very easily, and people would be impressed with it. Would I want one? Absolutely. Absolutely. Having something like this on my bench, it allows you to bring people into your reloading room and show off. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that a progressive would have. Some progressives out there that are even fully automated are absolutely awesome and amazing machines. And you can baffle brains with those things, you know. I've brought people in to show them machines and say, look what this does. And there's just so many things going on at once that, you know, that they're really impressed. But a machine like this, you can just talk about how solid it is, how precise it is, how everything just fits and works well. You do need to lube it. Dwayne has spoken about that. A good lube, none of the junk lubes. A sewing machine lube may even work there. A nice thin oil. You don't want it dry and you don't want oil all over the place. I think the way this one is lubed right now is probably right. We can hear the Vesconite bushings as they move up and down. You can hear the whisper. It's not difficult to push, it's relatively easy. A well-made press. What can I say? This thing is awesome. One thing that, for me personally, I'm a right-handed person, so on this machine I would be running it this way and running everything into the side. If you think of some of the other machines out in the market, even the Lee machines, you'll always see that they've got a slight twist to them, and they're built for right-handed people. It's turned, I don't even know, 30 degrees or something like that to the right. So it's easy for you to take a case, push it in, run the handle, pull it out and do your work. This one, it may be a bit more difficult because it's all in line with me and I need to move over and work that way. But more importantly, this is an ambidextrous machine. A lefty can sit this side and work like that. And that, to me, as much as I thought initially that it may be a bit of an issue, the fact that a left-handed reloader can work with this machine as easily as any right-handed person makes this thing a winner. You know, all too often we forget about the southpaws, and you know the world is all about right-handed shooters or right-handed people. It would be nice if it was right-handed shooters, but just allowing a left-handed person to work with us as it would be with any right-handed person, I think really just sets this thing apart from anything else. And being able to work from the side is
a lot of
pretty
workspace.
easy. Yes.
Open workspace.
So, you know, my swage press, for example, you have to work from the front. It's not always comfortable to work that way. I think this absolutely works. In my opinion, this is a winner, an absolute winner. For the guys out there who want to do or get into precision loading, precision shooting, this would be the press. But you don't buy this press and put 500 gram dies in it.
No.
You buy this press and you put decent dies. I'm a fan of the Reading dies or the Forster dies. They do cost. You pay a premium for those dies. But in a machine like this, it deserves the very best. And that's...
If you're going to spend the money on this press, you might as well spend the money on a set of proper dies. Not that I'm saying Lee is not proper dies. I love my Lee dies. But there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Lee dies. You know, a lot of people tell me that I've got brand XYZ, whatever, and my ammunition is better. I'm the first person to say, no, your ammunition is not better. The setup of the press is what determines the quality of your ammunition. But a machine like this, you're not going to run the cheaper dies. You're going to want those, not necessarily competition dies, but you do want the dies with tighter tolerances that are, particularly the hole inside the die is concentric with the threads on the outside. You don't want a hole that is sitting off on the middle here. This machine is not built for those. There are other presses that will self-align and do that for you. But a quality set of dies in a machine like this, I don't think you'll ever look back and say that this was a bad investment. A good machine.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming through and doing the review for us. And yeah, like I said, Craig's my go-to guy when I need reloading advice. He's happy with his press. I'm happy. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.